Hello and welcome back. We are continuing on with our Votann. We've got Memphis here contributing greatly. Sir, what do you have to add about this paint job? Can you tell me? Oh, he's camera shy. Okay. Well, we're continuing on with our Votann. I have blued most of them now. Or blued. Purple. That color that's not blue. I've purpled most of them now. And where we are is now we're going to start adding in some of the other details. But before we start that, I picked up a new paint. I know. It's an addiction. I was using the Basilicanum Gray to do these guys, do their fabric, and I might still do that, but I want to try this. This is some Black Templar contrast paint. And I want to see how this looked on them to do their black bits. So I'm actually going to hop right into it. I'm going to hop right into it for you guys. Yeah. We're going to take up a unreasonable amount of contrast paint and then just start adding it. Because what I found with the Basilicanum, I liked it, but I had to add so much to get that kind of black color. I think it was too light. Too much came through. You know what I mean? So, I figured I'd try this Black Templar and see if that was blacker. So we're not going to fully get these guys done today. There's just so many little details I still have to figure out. There's just so many little details I still got to get figured out on them. But you're going to get a much better picture for how they're going to look. At least I'm planning on having a much better picture for how I want them to look. Things I'm going to do today as we're going. Once I have the... Oh, no. Once I've got this all on there. And that's one thing about contrast paint. If I can add a little bit too much, you can just wick it away. Yeah. A little bit extra there. No, things I'm going to get done today. I'm going to take a look at the gun. I guess I get these sleeves done. These sleeves done. Their gloves. Interestingly enough, this paint's kind of got like a blue hint I wasn't expecting. I don't know if I actually like that more or less. Yeah, I'm going to work on this. I'm going to do their helmets today, their visors. I'm going to show you, that's actually going to be a big part of this, showing you how I'm going to do those visors. You guys can look at it and judge it and be like, that's trash, homie. You suck. I'll be like, yes, sir. You're right, sir. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to offend you thusly. Please forgive me. So yeah, I want to know, what I really want to know is if I'm going to be able, I'm going to go quite heavy inside here because it is an obscured part. I actually quite like that. Now the question I was actually going to ask, I don't know the answer to, I kind of got to test it, is if I'm going to like this on the gun. So I'm actually going to do, just because it kind of makes sense, is thinly brush it on the gun on one side, like that. Because the one thing I'm just worried about is there being no differentiation between the gun and the hands. Right? That's what I don't want. I don't want to lose the gun because the hands are black. So I can paint them dark black. And the other question is if I do the gun with the gray, with the gray, the basilicanum gray. It doesn't look like basilicanum gray. Oh, it is basilicanum gray. Would that look better? It's kind of thin. I might end up having to do 2 coats. Because, yeah, the basilicanum gray really doesn't cover. But I think I'm actually going to like that basilicanum gray more. So this guy here, we're going to come back to. And come back to that gun later. Yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of a big fan of that Black Templar, actually. Even though it's kind of got that blue tone in it, I think that that's just a much nicer color than the doubled up Basilicata Gray. But to each their own, that's me. You don't have to do yours this way. In fact, I strongly encourage you to do different things than me, because I'm just some idiot. Now, oh my god, I almost dipped my brush in my fucking coffee. I know that's what my coffee's there for, but still. There we go. Now, new thing to my paint kit today. I've got this. It's a spade. But it does solve my stupid GW problem. Now, I can take out precise amounts of GW paint instead of crying all the time. Alright. So we're going to set you to the side here. Okay. So we're just going to let that contrast paint dry. It's going to take a hot minute before it actually properly dries. In the meantime, thin down some lead belcher. We're going to do a couple parts that are going to be lead belcher. So things that are definitively going to be lead belcher is this part right here. I wasn't sure about this originally, but I decided in the end to do this lead belcher. Because I can do it lead belcher. Like that. Which is super easy. But there's another color I could do, which I did on my originals. The piping on the original Votann I did Army Painter Rusted Iron instead of lead belcher. Or instead of lead belcher. So I think I'm still going to do that here. Ooh, I done goofed. Oh well, it's an easy fix right now. Because I still have some of my purple left out. Mistakes happen as easy as that, folks. As quick as that, you can make a boo-boo. As quickly as that, you can pick an oopsie daisy. So yeah, this is the color here. Let's see if this focuses in. Yeah, that rusted iron color. I generally like that for the piping. I think I'm going to stick with it. Fix a couple other oopsie daisies here that I've made. That's okay, because that's what we do here. We fix oopsie daisies. This Votann army has been a lot of oopsie daisies so far. And that's alright. Okay. That's what you're missing. My footrest. There we go. Okay. So now that I've got that done, the way I'm actually going to color these guys. So down here, this kind of engine block, I am going to do in lead belcher. Again, I thought about doing this in the rusted iron, which I do love, but I was worried about just too much of monochromatic because I love it for the piping. I absolutely adore lead belt, or adore that rusted iron for the piping colors. I don't want it to be too much. I want it to stand out a little bit. Here we go. Okay, so this is the Black Templar. I actually love how it looks, and that's what I'm going to roll with going forward. And then the gun, we have the Basilicanum Gray and the Black Templar on the back here. Let's see if I can get an angle to show it. There. Let's focus. Come on, focus up. There we go. Yeah, there it is. I'm definitely going to go with the Basilicanum Gray for the gun, but I think it'll be 2 coats. So yeah, we got lead belcher on the engine, the power pack. I just want to see here. Alright, now that I know I like that, Actually, I know what I'm going to do. Ha-ha! Huzzah! I got a brilliant thought. Okay. So now I got to do his helmet here, his little booties, and his badoobadop. So the way I did this last time is the way I'm going to keep doing it, because I like the way it looks. Instead of doing two thin coats, I want it to be a bronze color, but instead of doing two thin coats of bronze, I'm actually going to start with this rusted iron. I'm actually going to put this on his boots as well. I'll start with two thin coats of this rusted iron color. I don't know what's going on with this. It's really thin. Shake it up again. There we go. I don't know if I've ever said a paint's too thin before, but this paint is definitely too thin. It really does not want to adhere very nicely at all. Okay. As we get more and more done, though. This is a little bit tricky. If you are smarter than me and you're doing sub-assemblies, this would be a lot easier. But hey, I don't do sub-assemblies because I'm dumb. Sorry, I don't not do sub-assemblies because I'm dumb. I don't do sub-assemblies because I'm lazy. It's a difference. Okay. I'm going to keep working on this guy, on these bronze bits here. And anywhere I want that's going to be metal right now, I'm going to do in this. I keep calling it rust iron, but it's called rough iron. Yeah, I'm going to do it in this rough iron color. So you guys are not going to get a very good view of this, but I kind of got to do it this way to get the angle I need. To get the angle, I need to get that on there. Okay. These don't have to be perfect. This is an undercoat. This is kind of something I learned through contrast painting, which I never really thought of before. It's the idea that 2 coats of a paint will put that color on your model. But 1 coat of paint will let the other colors shine through. So, we're going to exploit that to do what we want. And I'm actually going to put another one. Right there. Okay. So I think I've got, oh no. Almost missed the biggest part. Now my original idea was that this is actually the color I was going to use for this. For this part of the helmet. But I did not like the way it looked. So I erred against that. Not to do that. And if you are having control issues with your brush, I often have them. I have shaky hands. helps, and again, not my idea, someone else told it to me, it helps to make 3 points of contact. So I put my stand on the table, my hand on the stand, and then I'll put my pinky on the base. And that just helps to steady your hand. So now when I'm doing something, I'm kind of lackadaisical about it earlier, but now that I'm doing something that I don't want to overflow onto, I'll be a bit more careful. Let's see, we do that a little more. That's how you avoid overpainting. Or you get better at avoiding overpainting. Sometimes you end up with a dog's hair on your brush. And it's drawing paint to places you don't want. And you have no one to blame for that. You say, where did this dog's hair come from? I've never even seen a dog in my life. So where would its hair have come from? I have no idea who might have left the hair on my paintbrush. Look at him. He knows what he did. Okay. Woo! Had some good tasting paint water there. Alright. Yes, my original idea was to do this. This was going to be my color scheme, pretty close. Are we going to focus up? Just to focus on my hand for some reason. Let's see if I can get it to... Autofocus is nice sometimes, and sometimes it sucks. Come on, there's only one thing in the frame. There we go. Yeah, so this is what I thought my original color scheme was going to be. I kind of got away from that. And now what we're going to do is we're going to build on this. I'm actually going to up my brush size. That's my 2. Oh no. That's my 1. There it is. Lots of people using my fucking brushes. Okay. Oh, I should probably shake this paint out. So next I'm going to add some Vallejo bronze. Bright bronze to be exact. Which I find to be too bright on its own. However, when I do this particular thing, with it and put this rusted rough iron underneath it. And just do one thin coat of bronze over top. It becomes a lot darker. A much nicer darkened bronze color. Which I quite enjoy. I'm going to have to do some cleaning up here with this later. But I quite like the darker shade this comes out as. Then if I just put it straight on, comes out as a very worn, kind of weather-beaten bronze. Which I like. And you don't want to completely cover what's beneath it, because that just adds to this idea that this is used, old, battered, and weathered. It's not brand new. Right? That old rough iron showing through. For the shoes, I'm be very particular, because what I want is for the soles to stay that rough iron, and the other bits to be the bronze. A little bit particular where I put it. Oh, Memphis, you got the snores. Yeah, my dog snores. Okay. Alright, so let's just turn it off really quick. This is what we've ended up with. Oh, I missed his knee pads. Turn that back on for a second. There we go. Okay. Turn that off for a second. Okay. This is what we ended up with. So far, so good. I'm going to go back to our lead belcher here. Just to add some detail on the pants. There's a couple places. There's a bit of piping. And we're just gonna fix that up with a little bit of lead belcher. There we go. Now we gotta do some minor corrections to our, I say corrections, some minor spot fixes to our pants. I'm going to take my black Templar, brush wick off most of it, and just color in those couple spots where we had a bit of overrun. Just fix those couple spots. I think that's most of them. That's good. It's not my neatest work today. I've also done some whoopsie daisies here again. Along here. That's alright. None of these are hard fixes. You might prefer on yours to do this kind of stuff first. That's totally fair. I completely understand. I just have this mental flow of tasks I need to do in the order I need to do them in. And one of my things is that the body, the main armor, needs to be one of the first things painted in. I need to see it so that I can see how the rest of it goes. Right? That's a me thing. No one says you have to do it that way. In fact, it's probably directly better if you don't do it that way. Okay. Now I just want to pretty up a bit of that lead belcher around the edges here. Just because I found it's not really popping. Okay. Now, I'm going to come back to this gun very briefly. Mostly contrast painted already. I'm just going to fill in everything that I want gray again. Also going to take this opportunity to gray over the Black Templar I did on the other side, but that's not super important. None of the rest of them will have it. Yeah. I like that. I do. Now, I want to use the last bit of lead belcher I'm going to use on this model today. Right now. Which is going to be on this part right here. The magazine. And my guys. Your mileage may vary. I'm doing my magazine lead belcher. You do yours black, purple, tangerine, whatever color you want, brother. Mine is going to be lead belcher. Okay. All right, we're getting there, boys. The reason that's going to be lead belcher, oh my god, here we go, is because I'm going to do my bullets brass scorpion. Here we go. That's done. All right. We're getting there, boys. We're getting there. So we're going to turn. Okay. Now, On to the last major thing we're going to do today, because I'm not going to get to his belt. Fuck that. And it's brown anyway. Brown sucks. Who likes brown? Last major thing we're going to do today is his visor. The color I have to do the visor is the silveriest silver to ever silver. Piata, or Vallejo silver. It is aggressively silver. This can be a bit tricky because some of the other parts are kind of hard to get. You just take your time and be careful. You might notice that I'm working very hard not to paint the middle. There's a reason for that. I might actually switch from Piata to Stormhost. To be honest with you. Because, like a lot of stuff as these models have gone along, I'm a huge fan of that color. But I'm going to see how this looks first. So I went through a great deal of effort not to paint the middle part of the visor there. And that's for a very specific reason. And it is the color the visor is going to be. So you saw me do something like this earlier when I did the heat effects in a previous video for the Votann for these guys. What I'm going to do is I'm taking Eandon yellow contrast paint. I'm taking almost all of it off the brush. I'm just leaving a little tiny bit on the brush. Come on, focus up. There's only one thing in frame. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is, because I want the outside of the visor to be a little bit more tinted than the in, I'm actually going to add a bit more Eandon yellow to the outside. I'm doing a Eandon yellow because I'm using purple as my color. makes sense for me to do and in yellow. So just spread that out a little bit more. If you're not doing and if you're not doing this, then it might make sense for you to do a different set of colors. Yeah. That's what I've ended up with today. I quite like these little guys. I don't know if I'm going to show you me doing their belt and guns and stuff. It's kind of lame. But I might maybe I will. Maybe I'll show you doing like little panels and stuff. Just a full finish before I finish up these guys. But yeah, I'm actually quite happy with how that turns out. And this is how they're going to look. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you take it easy. I'll see you in the next one. All the additional YouTube begging, please, please, please do all the YouTube begging. Memphis would like me to retire, so I, need to get YouTube famous, all that good jazz. But no, seriously, thank you. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found something useful, or at the very least felt better about yourself. Yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Enjoy. Have a good one. Adios. Arrivederci. Additional generic goodbye from another language.